This spring and summer, I've got my son's graduation party, a bridal shower to plan, and a few summer birthdays for my family. But hosting can feel so overwhelming. Pretty Little Gatherings offers decor kits and tablescapes that are intentionally designed and handmade so everything works together. No second guessing, and definitely no running around to various stores to purchase what you need. Just open the box and host your celebration. Visit prettylittlegathering.com and subscribe to their newsletter for updates on their spring and summer decor options. And definitely follow them on social media platforms. If you want to make great pasta, you got to talk to Chef Marc Vetri. He's a lifelong Philadelphian who made his mark in the city with Vetri Cucina, an intimate, game-changing restaurant in a historic townhouse on Spruce Street. After he released his newest book, The Pasta Book, I knew I had to sit down with him and learn how he makes his food so darn good. So I invited our members, the CityCast Philly neighbors, over to the Fiddler Club for a live recording with Vetri, which covered the people, the ingredients, and the techniques that make his pasta prolific. It's Tuesday, March 10th. I'm Trina Marie, and here are the secrets to making pasta. Before you hear from Marc Vetri and I have to tell you about our CityCast Philly neighbors who got access to this members-only event. Our team loves bringing you all conversations with the people that make Philly what it is, like Vetri. We make the show and the newsletter every day just for Philadelphians, and it's all free. And if you love what we do and want to support us for just $10 a month or $100 a year, you can get perks like ad-free listening and access to events like this live taping, which you're going to hear today. But you did miss the pasta making demonstration, a tasting, drinks, and a personalized book signing. If you want to get in on this fun, sign up right now. Head over to membership.citycast.fm. And to our members who did come out last week, we had some fun, y'all. And it was so great to meet you all. So now here's the conversation I had with Chef Marc Vetri.
Awesome.
Good evening, everyone. How's everyone feeling? Yay! We're so glad to see everyone here, and thank you for being flexible with your schedules, because last time the snow tried to slow us down, but we're back in action. We're Philadelphians, right? We keep going.
It was a lot of snow.
It was a lot of snow.
It was a rough winter, huh?
Wait, with the first one or the second one?
No, the first one.
The first one. Oh, yeah, the first one.
We were.
Yes, that's.
We were knocked out from
the first one.
From the first one.
But the second one was like a little bit more fluffy. I could actually shuffle that one. So now we're going to introduce Marc Vetri. Marc Vetri is a lifelong Philadelphian who made his mark in the city with Vetri Cucina, an intimate, game-changing restaurant in a historic townhouse on Spruce Street. Along with his business partner, Jeff Benjamin, Vetri later opened Asteria, Amis, Pizza Vetri, Lo Spiedo, Alla Spina, and Fiorella, which was recently recognized for a Bib Gourmand from the Michelin Guide. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yes. Don't be shy. All of these restaurants have been hallmarks of Philadelphia's culinary experience. But Marc comes from a long list of family members who've also had restaurants here in the city and in the area. You've got a restaurant in Vegas, a restaurant in Japan. Your grandfather, Maurice, had a restaurant, Rodenberg's?
No, it was actually the name of it was actually was actually his name, Maurice.
Maurice's.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you have also a Pizzeria Salvi that is
named after my father.
Named after your father. That is at the Comcast Technology Center. So welcome, Marc.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time, because you've recently been rocking out on Jimmy Kimmel Live.
I was.
Tell us about that. How are you friends with Jimmy Kimmel? No big deal.
He ate here. Well, he was. I think he was in probably like 20 or so years ago now. And because I think he's with ABC, and they have to, I don't know, stop into Philly, wherever else, do some things. And then he was here, and I think Alicia Vitarelli, he asked her, like, where do I want to eat? And, she recommended us, so I ate there. And we just kind of were like, hey, man, very nice to meet you. He liked it. And then...
Do you remember what he ate?
I don't remember what he ate. Most likely some of the, spaghetti lobster, spinach gnocchi, sweet onion crepe, the normal stuff that everybody eats there. And then after that, we started hosting the Alex's Lemonade Stand events out in LA, and we asked him to host them. So I got to know him there, and he auctioned off something at his house. I went to his house, and just became
friends,
friendly, and and then he asked me to go on the show for the books, and I was like, I could sit with the band, and yada yada, and one thing happened and another.
So you weren't making pasta; you were actually playing the guitar.
I was playing guitar, yes, in the band, yeah. Well, what happened was we're at his house once, and he making one of the auction things, so. He had a bunch of folks over, and he has a little room there where he has like a what's it called when you like
a studio?
You have the mic, but then they have the
karaoke.
The karaoke there, but he also had a bunch of he had like some instruments there also. So we were all, sort of getting loaded, and it was like late at night. And I was like, I'm gonna grab the guitar, and like someone else hopped on the drums, and then we were all just playing, and I started,
like a jam session, basically, yeah.
And he was like, oh wow, you're really good. You should sit in with a band sometime. I'm like, okay,
That's funny. So we're going to dig into this new cookbook that you have, and we're going to talk about the secrets of pasta making.
Absolutely.
But before all that, when I think of pasta, I think of family. I think about being surrounded by love, like a big pot. I think of warmth. And you dedicate this cookbook to your father, Sal.
I do.
You write, to my father, Sal, who taught me my love for pasta. I miss you every day. And you also included
Don't make me cry.
I'm sorry. You also included this quote from him in your dedication that reads, you are the art. Your life is your work of art. Make it a masterpiece, son.
Yes.
And the last line simply says, I love you, Pop.
Yeah.
Tell us about Sal.
Yeah. You're making this hard. He was amazing, He was, I'm super lucky to, that when I opened the restaurant, he wanted to make family meal. And so, he was there, with me. I mean, when I opened back in 1998, he was there 5 days a week. And then obviously he started to get older, so went to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then I went to once a week. But, he was always there, and he was always mentoring all of the line cooks and chefs and everybody else. And he just kind of was just a real fixture there. Not a lot of folks get to really spend their latter years with their fathers like that. So I was just really super lucky, and he had all these kind of little, these little sort of sayings, and he would write them down in this little this little notebook, and he would kind of like open it up every now and then. I wrote this in here for you, and I just want you to remember it. And that was one of the things that he used to say to me. So, that's amazing. Special guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After this break, we have more on Vetri's pasta journey.
Hi, I'm David Plotz. I'm the CEO of CityCast, a podcast network that includes this show you're listening to, and also 12 other CityCasts in 12 other cities. and each one knows their city as well as your local team knows yours. So isn't it time we connected them? Don't you want to know how they're tackling their bike lane problems and housing challenges and sidewalk dog poop crises? That's why I'm hosting a new podcast called Your City Could Be Better. Because it could be. Every week, I'll chat with a different host in our CityCast network about what their cities are doing right and wrong, the weird things they're trying, and the surprising successes, so that we can all learn how to make our cities a little bit better. Listen to Your City Could Be Better on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm just so fascinated by doing all this research about you, just the mastery of pasta, from the family dinners and Sal being at the restaurant as well. And then you got your start at the pasta station at Wolfgang Puck's Malibu restaurant as a young man. You then traveled to Italy, where you're learning the craft of making pasta and ultimately perfecting it in your restaurants, and then teaching us all about it.
It's never. It's always.
Never perfect? Okay.
I'm always looking for just the next thing, just to make it a little bit nicer, a little bit better, a little thinner, a little more, whatever, flavorful. It's always. It's never quite perfection.
I see you also as like a chemist. You're, like you said, you're like experimenting.
Always.
But then you also are this like sponge, because in the book you talk about how much you learn from other chefs, and you learn how to like pinch your fingers a certain way to like learn a new like pasta shape.
Your hands, like my whatever ravioli, the things that I sort of make with my hands will not look like somebody else's noodles, because like my hands are my hands. It's my footprint. It's my fingerprint. So every sort of noodle that I make is not exactly like somebody else's. So you have to make it your own.
Do you still feel like you're still learning about pasta?
Always. I'm always learning something. I'm always, it's like, I'm always, sort of just making it a little, I'm always like, maybe if I make it like this, maybe if I use a little less pressure, maybe if I just kind of, use a little more water, make it a little softer. It's always, the art of the innovation is always fascinating, to me, and I just love kind of seeing things, and I make it 1 year this way, and then next year I'll actually head to Italy, and I'll eat something there, and I'll be like, oh, you know what, we should make this like this. Maybe I'll make it a little longer, and it'll hold the sauce better, and maybe I'll, always inventing, always innovating, always looking for the next thing, always.
Now, this isn't your first pasta book. This is your second?
It's my second.
So what was the new
pasta
thing?
book. Right?
Okay, so what was the new thing that you learned from making this book?
I mean, I just, it's not like new things. It's just more things. I had, so I wrote the last noodle book in 2015. And then I wrote some other books afterwards. And then it was like 10 years, and I hadn't written, another one, and I had 10 years of recipes and thoughts, and we opened Fiorella six years ago. We had all those noodles, and, so I was just like, we should write something else and really tell the story on, the first book was more about the science of flour and egg and how everything works, and dried pasta from Italy versus the American version of it, and why that one sort of melts in your mouth and this one doesn't. Whereas this one was more about shapes, why a certain noodle works with a certain sauce, how we sort of figure out you know, things that we like making. You know, just all of those, you know, sort of things.
So you might notice on the screen, but for our listeners on Tuesday, on the screen it says Vetri Community Partnership. And that's also an important aspect of your career, to teach and get the community involved. Tell us about Vetri Community Partnership.
Yeah, we actually started that about 16 years ago now. And, you know, we have mobile vans, and we have, you know, lessons that we have this office where we have this awesome demonstration kitchen that we host neighbors, where we show them how to make super healthy things.
I took one of those classes.
You did take
That's
one
when I
of those
learned how to make an
classes.
olive oil cake. Never heard of that.
Olive oil cake, not the most healthy thing, but it was still really good.
And I made the lentil bolognese.
Lentil bolognese, healthy.
Super healthy.
Okay, yeah, have a little bit healthy, and then have a little olive oil cake afterwards. You know, moderation.
But the point of that class is that the community comes together. We all go to our stations, and we get to make the food, and then we all sit
learn
around.
A skill also. You know, everyone should know how to make food. How to make something, how to walk into a supermarket and look at the vegetable section and like say, I can make something with that. I can make something with that, and they can nourish themselves. You know. I mean, otherwise they're going to just walk in the Wawa and, like, you know, snag whatever, and it's not healthy. You know, but if you have the skill of being able to make food, you're gonna have that skill for the rest of your life, and you know, you'll be all right. You know, no matter what, you can like make food. You can like walk into a supermarket, walk into a farmer's market, and find anything, and you make something with it. You know.
So shameless plug, if you haven't taken that class, go take the class.
Really fun. Really, it's really. Meaningful also. It's you know, the neighborhood loves it, and then you're also like at the end of it, you like, you know, sit with everyone, share a meal with everybody, and it's just kind of, you know, magical.
Yeah, you're a household name in Philly, and you're known as the expert pasta guy. So if you guys open your books, the first blurb is from Bobby Flay. No big deal. The governor has praised you. Do you often think about your celebrity, and do you like it?
No, I don't really think about it at all. I just, you know.
You're a cool guy.
I go to work, have espresso in the morning, and just, you know, go about my day. Just sit on the stoop. That's I mean, irrelevant really. It's just, you know. I mean, it's, you know, my life has, you know, been more than I ever thought it would be. You know, you don't ever like think, you know, when I was whatever 30 years old, and I was, you know, thinking about opening up a restaurant, I was like, oh my God, I can open up a restaurant. I can make a living, and I can like make food, and I can welcome folks into my home, and, you know, and like show them Italy. And that was all I ever wanted, you know, to do. And then, you know, so all the restaurants, all the accolades, all the, you know, the Bobby Flays, that's all, you know, like that's all nice, but it's you know, sort of a secondary thing.
Take us back to Philly and the restaurant scene when you first got into the industry in like the 90s. What was it like, and how has it changed?
Yeah, I mean, there was not a lot. There was, you know, Lebec Fen, you know, and then there was this newer restaurant, the Bass, the Striped Bass. And that was like the hot restaurant, and, you know, they were getting all the accolades around the nation. Everybody was kind of speaking about them, and it was amazing. And then I opened up, and, there was not a lot of other restaurants around there then, and slowly, and then like right after that, I think in like 2002 or three, I think Morimoto opened up, which was a really like major thing for Philly, because it was his first restaurant like anywhere in like the world, and he was this national figure, who was on Iron Chef, and like we used to go home and like watch the Iron Chef. That was like the big thing, and so the fact that he opened the restaurant, Stephen and him, they opened that up, and there was a whole show on like the Food Network, watching the opening of it. That was really neat, and
you're referencing Steven Starr.
Yeah, Steven Starr and Morimoto.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Steven Starr.
Okay. Just so people can follow.
It's only one Steven. Yeah. So that after that, I think a lot of like New York chefs, they actually started to think about moving
down 95,
moving back to Philadelphia, opening up restaurants, and then Jose came down here. He opened up Amada, and then Zahav opened up. And then it was just a whole like I think like around 2005, 6, and 7, a lot of restaurants started to open up, and that's when we opened up our second restaurant, the Osteria.
How do you still stay relevant with all these restaurants coming into the city?
A lot of effort, you have to stay relevant. That's the only way. We're open. This is our 28th year, and the only way to stay relevant is to evolve and to just see the world, see what's out there, and bring stuff home to Philly, and have wine dinners and fun things that evoke happiness and like make everybody think, wow, look at what Vetri's doing, look at what they're doing over at Fiorella, look at all this fun stuff, and there's listen, this is, I think chefs make the mistake of like thinking this is the food industry when it's really the hospitality industry. And that's what we're doing. We're selling memories, and we're also making food, and we're serving wine. But the main thing is, how do we make you feel? Because if you eat and then you leave and you're like, oh, yeah, I ate that restaurant, it was nice. But if you eat and we like make you like think about the evening, and like we make this memory for you because you're like celebrating something, and it's one of those memories that you'll remember for the rest of your life, you're going to want to eat there again. You're going to want to kind of see what we're doing. I'm less about like, if you remember what you ate, like that's nice. A lot of chefs are just like worry about like whatever, making this or that, and just like, this is my art, and I want you 5 years from now to think about the meal that you had and like say, oh, remember that night where we celebrated our anniversary here? Oh, that was a really amazing night. Not like what I ate, like I had the spinach junkie, like, who gives a shit what you ate? Like.
So what's next for you, Marc? You're gonna always be making pasta?
I think so.
Okay.
I hope so. And why not? It's a blank canvas of, and I'm just getting started.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, we have some quick questions for you.
Okay.
Best food town in the world?
Town or country?
However you want to interpret it.
Japan.
Second best.
Italy.
Favorite non-Vetri restaurant in Philly?
I'd probably say Zahav.
Yeah.
I think it's always amazing, and yeah.
Favorite dish you had in 2025 that did not come out of your kitchen?
2025, that was last year, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, something my wife made for me.
That's sweet. That's sweet.
We're digging into Vetri's book after this quick break.
Okay, let's open this book and talk about this pasta cookbook. It's a multimedia experience because readers can scan the QR codes of some of the recipes and learn the pasta techniques. Why was that important for you to include?
Because the last several years I've been always looking to learn things, and and I would open up similar things, and I'd look, and there'd be nine photos of how to make this. It's like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, and I could never make it. You're always like, wait, is that? It's a little like that, and then I would head on YouTube, and I'd find videos of these old ladies, from Italy, just making them, and I'd stick them in slow motion. I'd be like, and that's how I learned how to make everything on YouTube. So when I was writing this, number one, they were like, okay, we're going to have, they're called, what are they called, process shots. We'll have 9 of the orecchiette, and we'll have 9 of this. I'm like, you're just wasting a whole lot of stuff when we could stick one photo and then we can make a video and 90 seconds of me making it so they could slow it down and make it really nice and it's fun to watch. So we made 45 90-second videos of whatever shapes, some recipes, some different things. But I had to fight for that, by the way. They didn't want to do it.
It's your book.
Fuckers. They didn't want to do it. They fought me. I'm like, what are you fighting?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see nine
They gotta get with the times. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Wake up, bro.
If you want to open page 19, because it is called The 10 Commandments of Pasta. Your 7th commandment.
I don't even remember I just remember.
The 7th commandment, thou shalt use a maximum of 3 key ingredients in a pasta dish. Why just 3?
3. Well, because 4 is a lot.
Okay.
5 is way too much.
Too much.
Because you want the flavor to sing out, and everything that I've made, and that's really resonated, with everybody eating it. It's always been super simple, and it's always been 3 main flavors. So I just always am 3, and it's 3, not 3. It's 3.
3.
That's my 3. Yeah, I got the thumb and the 3.
Pointer and the middle finger.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's, yeah, and this is always like when like the blind cooks or sous chefs or like chefs, whatever. They're like, okay, we have working on some new things, this and that, and they like it, and they like show me something. Sometimes I look at it and I'm like, and they're like, what? I'm like, well, it just looks like a lot of stuff on a plate. I don't know that it's, then I eat it and there's like, and everything's masked, So I'm like, if you remove that and you remove that, then now you're looking at something. But it's restraint is like the most important thing when you're making things, because there's always like something else to add. Oh, it needs this or it needs this. Maybe it needs nothing.
You say there's no rules, but more so guidelines. I like that. And you say though, just don't throw things together. You have to respect tradition. Why is that important?
Well, because when you think about history and why certain things are with certain things, you have to remember, like, they ate that because that's all that was available. Because they didn't have any money back then, and they live in the mountains, and like they had this milk from this animal, and they were able to make this, and they had this one like noodle because that's all they could get, and they made this, and that's all they ate for like 50 years. So now that when you want to add things, or so I went to Italy, and there's this thing called so I went to Rome, and there's this thing called rigatoni alla paiata, and it's the veal, the small intestine, with the mother's milk in it still. And it like sounds awful, right?
Yeah,
but it's amazing. It's
Okay.
like, and it's a special thing there, and they make it with this red sauce, and you slice, the thing, and like the milk is kind of like in there, and it's curdled, but it's like yummy. It's really a wonderful dish. I know you're all like, whoa, this sounds terrible. Head to Rome and eat it, but so I went there, and this really famous restaurant had it, and I was like, oh, we're gonna find out something now. So I was like, hey, what if I made this with spaghetti? And they're like, oh, you can't make it. No, you can't make it with spaghetti. Oh, okay, great. Why? And so she went, the rear, and the owner came out, and they were arguing, and
causing trouble.
I was causing trouble, and at the end, so it's like, okay, what's the answer? They're just like, you just can't, because that's how it was made, whatever, 50, 60, 80, 100 years ago, and that's what they were raised on, and you just can't eat it with spaghetti. So certain things, you just want to respect, and you can mess around with things a little bit sometimes, but like now you can make cacio e pepe with rigatoni, with the spaghetti tonarelli. It's not like the end of the world, but I still think the most amazing way to eat it is with the square spaghetti that we make it with. And when you eat it, the mouthfeel, the look, it just works better. And honestly, if you have it with rigatoni or some other shape, it'll still be like yummy, but it's not the same.
Well, then how did you get to this one recipe? And help me out with the pronunciation of this. Buckwheat
Mal tagliati
with duck and espresso ragu.
Yeah, well, you can like make things. I mean, that's not anything that was like, there's no like super sentimental history with that noodle.
Okay.
They made it. Let's make a noodle. We'll kind of slice it, weird, and we'll name it maltagliati because that means, that actually means like sliced bad. So certain things are just made, and you can like stick different sauces with them, different ragouts, different this and that. You can flavor the noodles with other things, but certain like Roman dishes are like raviolis from a certain area that are specifically from a certain area because that's what they ate. You don't want to mess with that much.
And then there's a phrase that you all use in your kitchen when you finally adjusted the recipe, you finally got it right, and it's hee-hee on the ha-ha.
The hee-hee on the ha-ha.
What is that?
It's kind of something that, my friend who was a chef in New York, his name was Andy Nusser. I don't know if anybody knows him. He used to say that, and I got it from him. And it was just kind of like, when we're making something, we have this thing, and we're making it, and it needs a little something, it needs this, it's missing something, and then when you hit it, he's like, that's the hee-hee on the ha-ha. That's the final sort of, the final thing that like makes it the dish, final touch.
Well, you want to make some pasta?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Yeah, you just had to be there. That rigatoni ragu was incredible. Probably like one of my favorite dishes. But thank you to the CityCast Philly neighbors who came out. And if you want to make sure that you're at the next members-only event, become a CityCast Philly neighbor right now. Head over to membership.citycast.fm. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. If you enjoyed this episode with Chef Marc Vetri, share this with a friend and also make a reservation to one of his restaurants here in the city. Also rate the show, leave us a review, and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to sign up for our morning newsletter to learn more about what else Philly's talking about. And don't forget, I said it before, you don't want to miss out on all the exclusive fun that we have. Head over to membership.citycast.fm so you can become a CityCast Philly neighbor. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye.
Trying to hold this table together.
I know. It's making me a little nervous, to be honest with you. The whole thing's going to go down. It's going to be a great podcast if that happens. Get a lot of views. You see Vetri wreck that table?